Hey guys, and welcome back to Let's Play EarthBound. Before we set out for Onett, if we remember, Lier, Agerate told us to stop by his house once we've ditched our company. We now successfully have done that, so let's go ahead and stop by his house. Oh man, he's got holes in his floor, dude. You need a better house. Okay, so first we're going to the basement. I guess, we don't really want to hang out. Well, I mean, I'm kind of interested. Not even related. You have to be related to hang out now? Well, I do think you're a big liar, mostly because of your name, but I guess this works as a basement. It's kind of just a giant hole in his floor, but, well, you know, whatever. Alright, so he's going to lead the way in. This is a pretty interesting music. And it's just kind of a long cave system we're going to be going through here. You know, it would take a lot of work to dig all this stuff out, by the way. Great treasure, huh? Alright. Oh, man, check this thing out. Man, you and your garlic, dude. I don't think it helps as much as you think it does. Alright, let's check it. Again, with the ominous music cue there. Yeah, so this thing we're not supposed to know anything about right now. It's just kind of this statue he found that's glowing strangely. He mentioned something about greedy thoughts, but that's about all we know. So it's just one of those things that's kind of cool for later once you figure out a little bit more about it. It's like, oh hey, there was one of those back down in that cave by Onett, you know, at the very beginning of the game. So just kind of a neat little thing placed there, but we're going to head out, nothing left to do down here, and then we will get on our way. It's also worth mentioning that since we left the Soundstone with Tracy, it's very important not to come here and talk to her unless you still have a full inventory, because as soon as you talk to her, as you can see, she's going to try to give it to you straight away, but, you know, obviously we have a full inventory still, so she won't do it. Unfortunately, that means we're really not going to be visiting Tracy for the rest of the game, so, you know, I hope you got your fill earlier, because we're not going to be seeing her anymore. We'll still be able to talk to her over the phone and stuff, which of course we'll do later. Let's talk to King. He doesn't want to go out anymore at all. Well, you are a stubborn mutt, but that's okay. We still love you. Okay, so now that we are rested up and ready to go, let's get to it. Onett is going to be down here. Remember, this path was blocked off before by cops. However, it is now open for business, so let's make our way down. There's usually some enemies along the path, but I guess we got kind of lucky and they didn't spawn. And we've got this building here. I think we can read the billboard. Yep, and this is the public library. Use the library more, pretty much. So we can head in. There's not really too much useful here, but there is one item worth picking up. We're going to, of course, need to empty a space. Then we can talk to the lady here. Kids can borrow maps at the library. So we can go ahead and borrow it. All the info is there, except for the info that isn't there. Well, that's good to know. And of course, kind of the awkward laugh at referencing controller buttons within the game, so... Now we have the town map. At any point now we can press X and we can actually see a map of the current town we're in. It works for places other than Onett as well, so it's useful to have around if it's your first time, because this makes finding your way to places quite a lot easier, in fact. So, you know, worth picking up for sure. And then you may have also noticed from the map that Onett is going to be south from here, but before we go that way, there's just one little pit stop to make. I guess we can talk to this kid out here. Doing watch out duty for the hideout, huh? Sure, I'll take over. Oh, okay. Well then, why even ask? So we can actually find a little secret area here. If we walk all the way to the right and then go straight up, we can enter the hideout that he was guarding. Talk to this kid here. And he says he's going to give us his Mr. Baseball cap. But we can't carry anything else, of course. This is going to be a common theme, let me assure you. Okay, now we got the Mr. Baseball cap. This is actually an X piece of equipment, which is really good to get for free. You can see it ups our defense by quite a lot, so we definitely want to put that on. So now we can head down past the library and into the actual town. Let's see, there's our nice welcoming sign here. Can we read it? Nope, no problem here. Well, that's pretty much true. We can also check trash cans if we want. and find some trash can hamburgers. I'm sure that's nice and nutritious, but we have too much stuff. Eat another cookie. Alright, so there's a hamburger. That's pretty much the best recovery item you can get at this point. We can check it out here. We'll recover about 50 HP, so pretty useful. 100% beef, and maybe a little bit of trash in there as well, but, you know, we'll overlook that. And it's also worth mentioning, you can see there's shops around. We can, of course, buy stuff. Anytime you go to a new town, it's a good idea to check out the drugstore, because you can usually buy some new equipment and stuff in here. You can see, though, we don't really have a whole lot of money, but we can check out the ATM and choose to withdraw. You can see we actually have 160 bucks in our account, so that'll help us out with buying stuff quite a lot. Just go ahead and take it all. So that gives us 180. And we can also do some inventory management stuff here. We're going to be selling all the cookies because they're not really that useful. Unfortunately, it takes a little while because you have to hit sell, hit the cookie, select yes, then say anything else, yes, sell, cookie, yes. It's a little bit convoluted, but we'll go ahead and empty out our inventory here. Okay, so now that we have emptied out our inventory, we can actually talk to the other guy here. We've also got a decent amount of money, so let's go ahead and see what we can buy from him. He's got a couple things we want to pick up. First off is the T-ball bat, and if you see the window flashing like that, that means it actually upgrades your stats. If it's just solid, that means you can equip it, but it's equivalent to what you already have. And if it's grayed out, which none of this will be at this point, if it's completely grayed out, that means you can't equip it, of course. So let's go ahead and buy the T-ball bat, and a good thing about the equipping system here is you can equip it while in the store. It'll give you your stat change, and you can actually sell your old weapon back, so, you know, that saves a little bit of menu work. There's also one more thing we want to get. We want to buy the cheap bracelet. It's a little bit expensive for a cheap bracelet, but it's really worth getting. If you don't have the money, I would definitely recommend fighting stuff for it, as it'll increase our defense by 5, so it's pretty helpful. So at this point, we don't really need anything else. We're free to go. Got a couple people in here, nothing really worth talking to. There's a phone in here we can use. This type of phone is different, of course, from the one at home. If you pick up the receiver, watch our dollar total, you can see it actually goes down, and we can choose who to call. So let's just go ahead and call Mom. And she's going to tell us that Tracy started working part-time for S-Cargo Express. And this is going to explain Tracy's role in the game a little bit. You can see she can pick up or store items just like she could before at the house. So if you got anything you want to store but you don't quite want to sell it, you can call her and have her pick it up for you. Okay, so now we've got our fresh new equipment. Our stats are looking a lot better. We can head on down. This is a pretty big town. There's quite a few people to talk to, and some of them have some interesting things to say. This guy's going to mention Paula for the first time. You remember we named her at the beginning of the game, so obviously she's going to be a pretty important character. Why is she special? I forgot to ask. Oh well, yeah, too bad. And of course, all kinds of houses around. Most of these you can't go in. This one you just happen to be able to go in, though. You can talk to people inside, bug them a bit inside their house. Okay, thank you for the info. I already saw it. But a lot of these houses, you just walk up and knock the door and they say something funny, like probably this one. Yeah. We don't read the paper. And we don't want any milk either. Oh, well, of course you do. Milk's good, right? So yeah, there's all kinds of stuff you can check out, but I'm not going to spend too much time, otherwise we'd be walking around for like the entire episode trying to find people to talk to. And she's going to mention the hospital, and this is your mechanic for reviving KO'd characters, but, you know, of course we've only got one person in our party, so if Ness goes down, that's pretty much it. As we go further south, we should start to see some enemies we can fight. You can see these guys in the black suits. These are the guys we need to watch out for. These two actually won't attack us randomly, but if we talk to them, it'll start a battle. And these guys are the sharks. There's a few different varieties of them. This is the Pogo Punk. He's kind of the middle of the road variety. But again, just doing bashes works super well for this. And if you don't buy the cheap bracelet, these guys actually can hit pretty hard, but if you've got enough defense, they're really not much of a threat at all. However, it's still recommended not to fight more than one at a time. We're going to be fighting these guys to gain a few levels because we're going to need it for the next boss fight coming up. This is Escape Punk. If you ever see these guys in battle, like if you have multiple enemies to fight, take these out first because they can actually call for help. You can see his skateboard attack only did like 6 damage to us. If we didn't have the cheap bracelet, it would be quite a lot more, but as it is, they're not much of a threat at all. Alright, so like I said, we need to gain a few levels. So I'm going to try to get to about level 6. We're just about at 5. We only need 1 more EXP, so... Once again, I'm going to be doing a little bit of this grinding stuff off screen. It doesn't take too long. It'll just be a handful of battles, so... I will meet you back here once we are at the appropriate level. Okay, so I've fought some battles and we're now a little bit stronger. Got ourselves up to level 6. That's about the level I would recommend for this next boss fight. It took me about 10 minutes to get to this, so it's really not that bad at all. And it's also worth mentioning that this arcade here is the next place we need to go. You can see this guy and some kind of robot like in the backyard, and the arcade is the way to get there. So let's go ahead and head inside. We're going to have a few fights in here that are unavoidable. The first is this guy here. There's really no way with all this limited space to get around him, so we're just going to fight him. And it's just another Pogo Punk, so this is pretty simple. We'll just do our bash. And that'll finish it off. And we get another hamburger. It's also worth mentioning, I did pick up a few of those. I think this is my 5th hamburger now. Yeah, so our inventory is pretty full. Remember, these restore about 50 HP, so it's worth having a lot of them. The rest of these sharks here that are just walking around won't actually fight you, even if you talk to them, just as we sound like a real whiner. So, there we go. And of course, we can head upstairs. There's not too much to see. We can't really do anything with these arcade games. It just says no problem here. I've got this guy here who mentions that Frank has a powerful weapon, so... one of these guys actually wants to fight us as well. I think the very bottom one, like on the right here, I think he wants to fight us. It's unnecessary though, so we'll just go ahead and talk to this guy by the double doors. He asks if we want to become a member. We can say yes, but he says come back after you finish EarthBound, which we can't really do until we fight this guy, so we have to say no. It's kind of a clever little way to make you say no there. It's also worth mentioning that this is the S-Man Jr. This is the final variation of Shark that we haven't seen yet. So really all he does, he swings a hula hoop, which does some decent damage, but otherwise is no more of a threat than any of the rest of them. Okay, so now we are free to go through the double doors, and this will lead us to that backyard that you can see. Before I talk to the guy with that fabulous blonde hair, I'm going to heal up a little bit. We can go ahead and use the bread roll since it's slightly less than the hamburger. I'd rather be maxed out before we get into this. Obviously, we're going to have a boss fight coming up, and this guy over here wants to fight. Too bad, I'm protected by a fence. So let's go ahead and talk to this guy. Look at that hair, man. That's flowing, gotta say. So this is Frank, and apparently we're just going to give him the cold shoulder. And with that, we get into our first real boss battle. Awesome music for this too, by the way. Like I mentioned before, the battle tracks are all pretty good. And Frank is actually somewhat difficult if you're not expecting him to be. We're gonna bash, but we're gonna want to heal ourselves anytime we get under about 40 HP. You can see we can only take a little bit of damage before that point. The reason is, this is an interesting attack. It'll lower our guts, which doesn't really hurt too much. Come out swinging is his weakest attack. He's got one that I'm hoping he'll do before I take him down. If he wants to keep doing that, that's fine by me. Came out swinging again. And there we go, wow. Okay, so I guess I'm eating my words a little bit, but he's got an attack where he brandishes a knife that does quite a lot of damage to you. It's like in the 20 to 30 range, and obviously you can only take 1 or 2 of those. So, we just got really lucky that he did the super easy attacks. Now we're gonna fight the Frankenstein Mark II, the robot, and if you've played Mother 3 or have watched my playthrough of it, this music might be familiar. It kind of lifted it from this game. So, Frankenstein Mark II is a lot easier, even though I know that battle went super well. Mostly just because he only attacks every other turn, so in between turns he'll always generate a burst of steam, which gives you a nice chance to heal yourself. So if you get past Frank, you're pretty much good to go. That tear into you attack does a lot of damage, but again, you've always got a free turn to heal, so it doesn't really matter. Just heal anytime he does it. Otherwise, we can keep bashing here. Oh, we missed. How do you miss that thing? It seems rather large. Alright, yeah, I don't want to risk it. We should play it safe and just heal here. Because I'm thinking one more will probably take it down, but I didn't want to risk getting hit by another tear into you attack. Oh, okay. So this one should do it. There it goes. So like I said, the Frankenstein Mark II is actually rather easy. So Frank's a little down on himself. Fail-proof Frank is now just failure Frank. And he's going to tell us a little bit about Giant Step, which as we mentioned, which as BuzzBuzz told us is the first Your Sanctuary location we need to go to. So he said it seems pretty powerful, but a monster has sucked up all the energy from it. So obviously that's another boss battle we're going to have to get to. And he's going to mention that it's behind the Touring Entertainer's Shack, which doesn't help us a lot, but the mayor actually has a key to it, which we're going to have to use to get through. Alright, so that's pretty sweet. It's also worth mentioning that if you leave that area and then come back in, Frank will give you a spot that you can rest and recover for free. So it's worth taking advantage of. You don't have to go all the way back to your mom's house. So at this point, this guy's still going to try to get to us, but all he does is say yeah instead of fight. You know, I guess the sharks are still around, but maybe they're nicer now? I don't really know, but I'm not sure we actually did anything, but well, we won, so it's all that matters. And of course, as Frank mentioned, the mayor is going to have the key for us, so obviously we're going to find the mayor in Town Hall. And there's a lot of these little side rooms that you can talk to people in, but, you know, there's nothing too valuable in there. This guy says there's a lot of snakes and stray dogs, which, you know, we fought quite a lot of them. So he's here to protest. It's a one-man protest. I'm not quite sure how effective that's going to be. Alright, and here's the mayor's receptionist here. So up we go. Cop thanking us for all the help. Apparently we did the work that the entire police force couldn't do. Taking down the sharks, so, you know, I think that says a little bit of something about the police department, don't you think? Alright, so let's talk to the mayor here. It says, we beat up the town bullies, punched them out big time, kicked their butts, bit their heads off, spit in their eyes, and made them wet their pants. Well, I'm not quite sure about most of that. Maybe the last one's true. He's going to mention that he will give us the key, but tells us not to ask him to take any responsibility. Typical politician, am I right? So, yeah, you'll avoid responsibility. Okay, and he gives us the key to the shack. That's pretty much it. So, at this point, we have to find the Touring Entertainer's Shack. It's not very well marked, like you don't see it on the map or anything, but it turns out it's basically just to the northwest of the town. So at this point, we can head out of Town Hall and make our way up there. And of course, like I mentioned before, still plenty of people around to talk to, but most of them don't really say anything super worthwhile, so we will just ignore them for now. Let's go ahead and head back into the drugstore, though. I don't quite have a whole lot of money, but enough, I think, to buy what I want here. What we're going to do is actually buy the next weapon. This is the yo-yo. You can see it's cheaper. It's actually about the same strength as the T-ball bat, but it's less accurate and can't get critical hits. There's a reason we want to get this, though, so I don't want to equip it, but I do want to have one in our inventory. We're going to end up using it for the next area. Alright, so at this point we are free to head up to our next destination, which is of course going to be the Giant Step and all the caves before it and everything. This is giant building here, which unfortunately you can't go in. All you can do is knock on the door and hear people whispering to each other. You jerk. Okay, can I get anything more? It's just the same thing. It's just the same thing. Alright. So to get up to Giant Step, you can continue going to the left and kind of make your way back around, or you can go back, which actually that would have been faster than this, but you can go back around, oh, there's a dog. Yeah, these guys will run away from us now that we've beaten Frank. That's also another nice thing about this game, is once you beat the boss of an area, all the random enemies will start running away from you. Got this guy here. He's not our enemy, as he says. He's actually an average run-of-the-mill mole who can, for some reason, speak. He asks if we want to get some hints, which we don't, because we don't need them. And he leaves us alone, thankfully, instead of just telling us something anyway. So there's our sign telling us we're heading in the right direction. It's north at the top of the mountain. It tells us not to enter, though, which of course we are going to promptly ignore. Oh man, you're in a rough spot. Well, thankfully I've got the key. There's a big footprint on the hilltop behind the shack. Alright. So let's go ahead and check out some of the signs around. Yeah, this is the shack that we need to go through. You can see the cave entrance behind us. Do not enter. Well, there you go. So as we try to go into it, it tells us the door is locked. We have to go into our inventory and use the key to the shack, and that will unlock it. I think we can also talk to one of these guys now. Yeah, since we've opened the door. And he's going to give us the travel charm. And the travel charm is a piece of equipment that, let's see if we can just check it from here. Yeah, if we go ahead and check this out. It tells us it's a thing to equip on our body. It protects us from paralysis attacks. It's not super useful at this point because we're not going to be coming up against anything with paralysis attacks. And as you can see, it doesn't increase your defense or anything, so I'm pretty much just going to keep it off. And we might go ahead and sell it. I think it sells for about 30 bucks. So we might do that next time we come to a store. So at this point we are through the shack and we can actually head into the cave and start the next area. So this is the cave that's going to lead us to Giant Step. We are level 6 right now, and before we get to the top and fight the boss, I want to be about level 8 or 9. And so obviously we're going to have to be doing a bit more fighting. We can explore the place a little bit first though. We've got a couple of these random caves that we can go in. And I guess we can, if there's only one, we can probably fight this. I'm expecting this to be a black Antoid, which it is. So these guys, the most annoying thing they can do is call for help. If you fight more than one of them, they can all call for help and quickly overwhelm you. They also, I believe, have PSI attacks, but I'm not sure. Either way, you can see they do a decent amount of damage, even with all the equipment we've bought. So we'll just go ahead and bash him a couple times, and that'll take him down. But, you know, he hit us pretty hard there. However, we are starting to get a better amount of experience. Also open that present to get a skip sandwich. Skip sandwiches aren't really that helpful. I mean, okay, since there's so many congregating here, I think this is... Oh, wow, there's a lot of them. I think this is a different type of enemy. It's the same kind of sprite on the map, but if they all go to you like this is the attack slug. This is the enemy that you want to fight if you want to grind stuff, because these guys are super easy to kill. And they don't do too much damage. The attacked slug is attacking, which is rather appropriate. So, you know, when there's 4 of them, I guess maybe they can hit you a little bit. I did not even take it down. Wow, I shouldn't be taking this much damage from them here. I didn't mean to attack. Hopefully they all still do 3. Okay, he tries hypnosis. They can do that sometimes, but they actually can't use PSI for the first 4 turns, so you don't need to worry about that. I definitely need to heal, though. Thankfully, I'm faster than all of them. You can see at this point, since it's been 4 turns, they're all going to be able to concentrate, which means they can use their PSI ability, Hypnosis. They usually don't, though. If they do, it's going to be annoying, but, you know, not much you can do about it. Alright, so there's only one more left. And he didn't put me to sleep, thankfully, so we can just, not take him down. It's weird, I'm used to being strong enough to take these guys down in one shot, so I'm not... This is like the longest attack slug battle I've ever had. You'll see, though, we actually get quite a lot of experience, over 100, which is definitely enough to level us up. Got a lot of maximum HP increase there, which is nice. And we're good to go. And these should be more attack slugs, so we can go ahead and fight these guys as well. That finally clears him out. Oh man, even more. There's also another enemy there, which I don't think will attack with this group. No, it's just these 3 first. Now that we got those out of the way, between those last 2 battles, I got like 160 experience. Yeah, you can say I only need 30 more to get to the next one. So let's go ahead and fight this new enemy here. And this is probably the last new enemy type I think that we're going to see in here. This guy's the Rowdy Mouse. Now, he's got a somewhat interesting effect. You can see he can get smash hits on us, but it's basically 50-50. He either does 1 damage with his attack, or he gets a smash and does his regular amount of damage. So, you know, it's kind of a coin flip, I guess. But it's pretty simple. He doesn't get smashes that often, so you're not really concerned about him doing a whole lot of damage. Oh, baby! Offense went up by 5. Anytime you see that, that means that you got kind of a higher increase than usual. I think you can also say, like, that rocks. Oh, and we realized the power of PSI Rockin' Alpha. This is, of course, the spell that we named at the beginning of the game. Let's also go ahead and heal since we're getting pretty low. So PSI Rockin' is actually our first offensive PSI. And you can see it's a deadly PSI attack, which only Ness can use. And it hits all enemies for about 50 points of damage. So it's pretty useful. Unfortunately, it has the downside of using a lot of PP. I think he uses 10 per shot, so, you know, you kind of have to ration it out a bit. I think we can check out this cave. I'm not sure. I don't think there's anything in here. So, yeah, let's not fight those things and just leave. Those are probably 2 black Antoids, which could get annoying pretty quickly. Alright, and we did just heal, right? Yeah, okay, so we've got plenty of health to deal with this. Okay, probably another black Antoid here. Oh, the exact same fight, in fact. And it probably goes without saying because of the black Antoid's ability to call for help, but they're obviously, if you're in a battle with multiple enemies, any black Antoids you should definitely defeat first because you don't want to get overwhelmed. So we got another cave in here. This should have an item in it. We got a couple rowdy mice, which I don't really want to take on. If they both smash, it can get kind of bad. The good news is we can just go in and out and see if we can get a different enemy spawn. Okay, only one. It actually... Oh, I thought it might have been stuck in the wall. That would have been funny. Taking a bit of damage again. It's a good idea to stay on top of your health. And we've got plenty of PP at this point. We also get the cold remedy inside this box. The cold remedy is a status effect healer. It'll heal the cold status, of course. Like you have a cold, you're sneezing. And we're not going to be running across that really in here. But there will be a point sometime soon that it's going to be nice to have. You can also see there's this butterfly flying around. Let's go ahead and see if I can... These should be attack slugs since there's so many. So let's go ahead and take these guys out first. Okay, at this point, actually, you can see there was a black Antoid in that fight, and it called for help. At this point, actually, I think we can use this opportunity to demonstrate our PSI Rocket ability. We've got just enough PP, and as you'll soon see, we're going to recover some here anyway. So let's go ahead and use this. And you can see that does a pretty good amount of damage to every enemy on screen. It's super nice. Of course, you know, again, the downside is it does use 10 PP, which is quite a lot. Alright, so at this point, let's go ahead and get away from those enemies and go ahead and check out this butterfly. If we run into it, we get bathed in this purple light, and it says the magic butterfly made us relax. So at this point, if we go ahead and check our stats, you can see we've actually recovered 20 PP. So anytime you come across those, if you're full on PP, go ahead and heal, do whatever you need to do, and then use it so you can get full advantage of it. Okay, so we're getting somewhat close to the top of this cave here. More things to fight. Quite a lot here. Okay, and with that, we've now leveled up to level 9, which is about where I wanted to be before. Pretty much the key value to hit is to have about 90 max HP, because that's what's going to be the most helpful value in the next boss fight coming up. So at this point, we've kind of exited out the top. You can actually see Giant Step up there. There's a big footprint up top. And that's the place we're going to need to go to. There's also usually a magic butterfly here, so this is a perfect opportunity to heal yourself. Use life up if you need to, and then run into the magic butterfly. Oftentimes, if you leave and come back, it'll respawn. So this is basically a free heal point. And at this point, we're also maxed out on HP and PP, so we don't really need anything more. Let's continue. So we're pretty close to the end of this place. There's a lot of those guys around. I'm pretty sure those are all black Antoids, so I'm going to see if we can get a better spawn here. At least one that's less annoying. Okay, just one guy. That makes things quite a lot easier, in fact. Oh, we took it out. It was probably just an attack slug then, I reckon. And we got a cookie, but we can't carry any more stuff. Like I said, this is going to be a common theme, so now we don't want to throw anything away for it. And Ness abandoned the cookie. Oh, poor thing. Also another present here. There's a hamburger inside, but we got too much stuff. So let's see. Yeah, the skip sandwich I mentioned before, I don't think I actually talked about what it did. We can go ahead and demonstrate that since, you know, it's never really that useful. If we eat the skip sandwich, it recovers some HP, but it also makes us move a little bit faster, as you can see. But it only lasts for a very limited amount of time. In fact, it's going to run out pretty soon. Yep, there it goes. So, you know, I guess it's nice if you really want to get away from something, but otherwise it's not really that useful. So we grab the hamburger and we can now continue. We got another guy here, just one, so that'll be simple. Oh, again, an automatic defeat. We might be able to take out black Antoids on their own now. I'm not entirely sure. But either way, it's definitely nice to not have to fight anymore. I got a couple here. I guess we can fight them. Pretty quick. Just a couple bashes. Took care of both. And we can head up these ropes. And this will take us to the end of Giant Step. Where, as you can see, there's this kind of shiny thing in front of us. Obviously, something big is about to happen. But I do not want to trigger that just yet, because I think this is where we are going to leave off. So next time we will confront whatever this thing is in front of us and then hopefully reach Giant Step. So till then, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.